Ooh, welcome back to the Links Golf Club podcast, everybody. Your weekly live show about our wonderful club and the world of golf. I'm Gregory, joined as always by Cooper, Chris. We got Bossie sitting on the couch cushions in the back. This week, we recap the Tour Championship. We give our Ryder Cup team predictions, and then we prepare for the upcoming Spey Bay Ryder Cup. Cooper, Chris, how are y'all feeling today? Big week, big travel week.
Good. Yeah, locked in. Love the new intro. I think this is going really well. Welcome everybody for joining in on other platforms. Really excited, but remember to subscribe on YouTube. We got a lot of good stuff coming this week. Ryder Cup kicks off in 2 days. I think maybe exactly 48 hours from right now, we're going to be doing opening ceremonies and kind of events out there. So as you can see, I'm stoked. Go Team USA. We're about to come in hot to Europe, to a sleepy, beautiful seaside town in Scotland, and have a ball. Chris,
Cooper,
how you feeling? How's the captain doing?
Cooper, what team do you play on?
USA.
Nice. Chris, what team do you play on?
I believe that'd be the US team
All
that
right.
I'm a part of. Yes.
Yeah. No Georgia, Atlanta, or Philadelphia. We're Team USA all the way. Yep.
US of A.
Chris, how you feeling? How you sleeping?
Feeling good, man. I mean, yeah, starting to get excited. The pre-trip excitement going. The getting the packing going soon. All of that good stuff. The chatter has picked up significantly at least in the Team USA Ryder Cup chat in Discord and elsewhere. So yeah, hard not to be excited at this point. Yeah, it's just a waiting game until Friday, really. Until we're playing over in Scotland.
If you're not excited, then you don't have a pulse. This is why we work. This is why we prepare. We just got to show up and do our job. We'll talk about it. Let's get some housekeeping before we jump in. Chris, you want to kick us off?
Yeah. And, before we get started here, I want to give a shout out to our partners at the Stack System presenting today's podcast. So you've heard us talk about the Stack System before. We were all in it, getting our reps in. It is a great tool for not only improving your swing speed, but they also have stack putting and stack wedging now for dialing in those wedge distances. I think all three of us had great experiences with it this past winter. I spent a ton of time on it over the winter. I think it's a great training tool for using, at least for me, right? I'm in the Northeast, can't get out and play over the winter, but I can get some swings in, be dialing in or dialing up my swing speed. I saw a ton of improvement. I think it was 15 miles an hour in driver swing speed, which is insane. And even though I've kind of personally, I kind of did the training over the winter and then playing over the summer, plan to go back to training over the winter. I've seen it translate a lot to the distances. Actually, even on my iron distances is where I've seen a lot of improvement this year. So it has been an awesome tool. I know you guys, I don't know, are you guys currently training on it now, or did you do training session and pause? What's y'all's status with the system today?
I stopped a couple of weeks ago just to kind of in my prep for the Scotland trip, but similar situation. I think the thing that the promise that was delivered in their marketing materials, obviously you're going to watch out for top end swing speed, and my top end swing speed has definitely gone up. But I think what it has also done is it has allowed me to commit to an 80% swing that is still roughly where I was in like serviceable swing speed before starting, which has been really interesting. So carry's gone up, rollout's gone up. And then I think to your point, I want to echo that I'm definitely carrying my irons further, sort of out of a better window, compressing the ball better, higher ball speed, getting a little bit more spin where I need to. So it's been great. I mean, I can't wait to start again sort of after this. I think probably after the Ryder Cup, I'll be playing vintage clubs for the rest of the year. But I definitely am going to continue the training just to have the confidence to be like, I'm just going to swing really slow. And it goes as far as it was when I'm like, I'm going to kill the ball is just a game changer for me.
Yeah, I'd concur. It's really about control and being able to find that slot that I'm comfortable in. Can really bang the ball far if I need to, but I find that I don't actually have to swing that hard all the time now that I've used the stack. But I think it'll be more of a winter return to training after this. So fingers crossed that the performance keeps up in Scotland against our opponents this week.
Totally. And it's a good time to be thinking about, the plan for the winter, and, good time for those who haven't tried it out, thinking about giving it a go this winter, kind of same kind of schedule that we're thinking about. Good time to look into it. Can order now, have it all set up for kind of when temperatures start to get lower, in unfortunately not too long from now. But we're going to hold on for warm golf season up here for as long as we can. But if you want to take advantage, anybody who's listening to this can go to thestacksystem.com/linksdao, and you'll get 10% off all the Stack products. So that's the kind of swing training system, or the radar, or the full bundle. Plus they have some other products you can check out there. And if you're a LinksDAO member, you get an extra special discount and benefit that you can check out in the member clubhouse at clubhouse.links.golf. So make sure to check that out for all LinksDAO members, and use code LINKS when you're checking out on the Stack System website. So excited to have them as a partner. They've been great thus far, and we're all excited about using those products, and hope we see some of the fruits of that labor showing up at the Ryder Cup in Spey Bay later this week. I know we're going to talk a lot about that though, but before we get to it, what else we got to hit up front, Coop?
Yeah, this week we premiered the 100-hole hike video from the summer solstice at Spey Bay. If you can't make the Ryder Cup earlier in the summer, it's an incredible time to visit that area of Scotland, tour around, get a lot of daylight hours to play some golf, and we played a lot of golf. I fired off 100 holes walking on that date, and Greg and I recapped the video, did a little film room kind of vibe. So you can check that out on our YouTube channel. That's live now. So go ahead and check that out. Let us know what you think, and book your flights for next year. It's a great time. In terms of other golf events, we have our signature events at Arbor Links on the 14th of September. So that's coming up hot. We had one cancellation recently. So if you want to join us out there at Arbor Links, should be a fantastic event. Let us know, shoot us an email, hop in the Discord. We'll get you hooked up with that. And then the Tree Farm, which has been, really hyped up, great facility, new course kind of burst onto the scene. Got 2 days there, November 23rd and 24th. So it's going to be an overnight with lots and lots of fun, food, golf, etc. That's available. All of our events are at linksdao.io/events. And we have a couple community events coming up too. So we've got the Battle for the Hudson at Paramount. So New Jersey versus New York Ryder Cup style. That's going to be really, really cool. And Sweetens Cove going out to South Tennessee. So check those out on the events page. I'll drop the link in the comments here. Get out and play some golf. Season's long from over. There's plenty of golf left to be played. Make sure you get that in and come out and meet some other Links members. It's always a really good time. And then if you're more online and looking to get rewarded for participating digitally, we have our own coin, the Links coin, and we are doing drawings for Links Millionaires. So if you have collected 1 million Links coin, you can go into the Links Discord, verify your wallet holdings, and we are going to be doing a drawing, the next drawing on September 4th. Congrats to our winner this week. Danks won a Links hat and a free round of golf. So, it's worth it. Yeah, you got that hat right there. It's shipped out, and Links is hooking them up with a free round of golf. So get some Links coin, pop in the Discord, have a good time, and get rewarded with cool gear and golf stuff. Yeah, we'll see you there on the 4th when we get back from the Ryder Cup with that drawing. But that's all I've got right now. If you have any other ideas, community events, etc., pop in the Discord, share your golf picks. That's the spot to be right now, and we'll be updating you all this week on Ryder Cup festivities.
Sweet. Sounds good. Thanks, y'all. Let's get into it. Main segment here. We're going to talk about the FedEx playoff first. We got two big winners in our midst. Tommy Ladd finally pulled it off, and Cooper won our foursome bet. You can check out on chain that both Chris and I had to pay him 100,000 links That transaction hurt a little bit watching that. I secretly hoped that it was going to fail. There was going to be some bug in base, and it wasn't going to go through, but it did. It's in his pocket now. Congrats to Cooper. We'll talk about that a little in a second, but just it's great. I mean, I know there's been a lot of sort of complaints about Tommy's first win being the Tour Championship and like crowning him the FedEx winner when it's his first win. You saw the same thing on Live, that Rahm is the individual champion. He didn't win a single event. Tommy is the individual champion, didn't win a single event. But I think the overwhelming response to Tommy's win is both sort of relief and happiness. And it's cool. We got, Rory sort of in the beginning of the year, finally breaking through with the Masters, and we got Tommy finally breaking through on the PGA Tour. So let's just, what do you think about the tournament, guys? What are your feelings on Fleetwood? And we'll go down the leaderboard here in a second.
Yeah, forget who I saw mention this. I apologize for stealing their take, but my general thought was the tournament would have been really boring if Tommy hadn't won, but Tommy winning made it a more interesting and kind of compelling finish at the end that was fun to watch. So thankful for that. But absent that, I don't know, there wasn't too much going on, right? We've talked about it, lacked a little juice, but I am thankful that we had that storyline and kind of a fun thing to watch to keep it interesting, even though, the leader was up by 3 to 4 strokes kind of for the last 2 full days, and there wasn't that much intrigue going on. And, there was no kind of, I don't know, the FedEx Cup points and whatever else, there was none of that real intrigue as well. So that was my general thought. And I'm very thankful it didn't end up in like, a quote unquote random winning, and then Tommy's still winning the FedEx Cup, and then we have to listen to like, this system sucks, like all that. Glad to not have to deal with that. So I don't know if that's a ringing endorsement for the tournament, but that's my general feeling coming out of the weekend.
Yeah. How much do you think the pace of play of the final grouping kind of impacted the lack of drama? I know Fleetwood was 3 strokes up, but that's been a dramatic thing in the past. That hasn't necessarily meant it was locked out. I was still like, on 15, gripping my couch cushions, not sure what was going to shake out. But then I looked at, it shows you what hole every grouping is finished. And I'm like, they're 2 holes behind the next group in front of them. Normally in these tournaments, we get, kind of bang, bang finishes. People are waiting. They're lined up. They're queued to tee off. That was not the case here. I think the folks around the 18th hole had a decent wait to see them come up the fairway. Do you think that maybe played into the lack of drama that, obviously would have liked to see a birdie or an eagle or something like that on 18 from one of the earlier groups to like narrow that gap? But for me, the pace of play, I was like, oh, there's a weird delay here with this final grouping.
Yeah, I mean, it's like one of the big drama elements of obviously this tournament was pretty much over before it got to 18. Something could have happened, but it was likely that thing wasn't going to happen. And you kind of like the guys having to stand there on the tee box and wait for the group ahead of them to finish. It adds a little bit to the stress. They're thinking about it. So yeah, I missed that. It's weird when that foursome was so far behind, and obviously most of that, at least consensus, is attributed to Cantlay and his endless pre-shot routine, which is just sort of disgusting. I will say though that I empathize a little bit, because as someone who rushes things and tries to play really fast, I could definitely use to be a little bit slower. But it's a tough watch on television. I think the pace of play is definitely a problem. I don't know how much it contributed to the lack of drama, but I do like that shot of like the 2 guys standing there on the tee having to wait, and just it allows the announcer to just tease out a little bit more of the storyline, allows us to build a little bit of anticipation, and then to see that tee shot hopefully hit the center of the fairway. That's my take. Yeah. But yeah, others, I mean, it was I think Chris was right as far as the tournament itself, but you had Russell Henley and Patrick Cantlay at T2. Cantlay missed a pretty big putt that would have put him in solo second. That was sort of a tough watch. Canadian zone, Corey Connors, T4 was Scotty and Cameron Young. It was good to see Cam. We went in needing to see something from Cam Young. We'll talk about Ryder Cup picks in a second, but then to finish out the top 10, you have Justin Thomas, Sam Burns, and Keegan Bradley, T7. Keegan actually fell a little bit, but he did end up top 10ing, which will only make the next 24 hours news cycle about his picks more interesting. I think if he finished where Chris's own Sepp Straka would have finished, I think it would have been a different conversation coming up here. And then got her up, still kind of fresh off his Lynx summer T10 with Ben Griffin. So let's talk about the foursome. I think it's pretty disgusting as far as what played out. We had Chris, me, Cooper each pick a foursome of players at the beginning of the FedEx playoffs. They then would accrue points over the course of the events, and then we would pick a winner. As you said earlier, Cooper, the pretty clear champion. He had Justin Thomas, he had Ludwig Oberg, Keegan Bradley, Tommy Fleetwood. Tommy obviously getting 14 points at the Tour Championship was a big deal. Justin Thomas, T7, though, also got him 4. Oberg didn't really show up on the weekend, but Keegan T7 also got him 4. Chris came in second with 57 points. I honestly am shocked that this is how it played out, especially that we gave him Rory. He you didn't have Rory in that first week, but it really wouldn't have mattered. Sepp Straka finishing 30th was a pretty tough look, and then getting a T13 for Harris English also didn't help. But Chris came in 57, and then I just absolute basement dweller, 38 points. I mean, Xander didn't even make it to the Tour Championship. I got 0 points for that. Russell Henley was T2, which I got 4 for. Matt Fitzpatrick didn't make it, and then Ben Griffin T10 for 3. So to be like on Twitter, like I don't know what I'm doing. Like it's so clear to me. Like the proof is in the pudding that this was an absolute disaster from Team Gregory. We're going to take the offseason to think about it. We're probably going to need to make some changes, but we'll see if someone gets relegated, gets called up for next year. Any thoughts on either, congratulations to Cooper, or any other thoughts on your team, things you do differently next time?
I was feeling very confident going into the playoffs, and then even going into last week, I'd say, and absolutely did not play out how I expected it or wanted it to. So all you can say is kudos, Cooper. Good job. Well done.
Cheers. Thanks, guys. Thanks for prompt payment of your Lynx coin. I appreciate that. That was really nice. I will say that if we had the old tournament format, Scotty would have won. So Chris, your pick wasn't that could have shifted the whole balance here, the points. I didn't do the math, but that's a casualty of progress, I suppose. Something to consider with that.
You weren't wrong. You were just late.
That's exactly right.
I don't think it's the Scotty pick that cost me, though. It's the the Sepp Straka WD and then DFL last 2 weeks. That'll do it.
Tough.
That could have hurt you. Do we like the new format? Do we agree with this? Kennedy also posted the bracket like playoff format and how that would have shaken out. Like, what do we think? Are we cool with this? The no extra points. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. Did you like this better than the handicap point system? Like, where do you guys sit on this?
I think I've explained what I'd rather see. I'd rather see match play. I've heard a couple people explain, because there is some desire not to have match play because it's a different format of just doing stroke matches one-on-one. So have a bracket, and then instead of doing match play, just whoever has the lowest score of those two players goes forward. It doesn't feel like playoffs. I mean, it's the same, like endless kind of nothing new, and no breaking news for me or hot takes on this. It doesn't feel like the playoffs do in every other sport, which is always the most exciting time of the year for the NFL, the NBA, and Major League Baseball. So, like, I think you need to crown a regular season winner. That's fine. The NHL has the President's Trophy. Go ahead and do that. And then it needs to feel different in my mind. I want to see some different golf courses. Nothing against the ones that they play now, but I'd like to see some new places so that I can see them on TV. And I would like to see more sort of head to head, and someone, just like regular playoffs, the best team doesn't always win. Someone gets hot. That's okay. But it needs to feel different, and I'm glad they're changing. We'll see what they do.
Yeah, I said this on X last week, I think, but I would love to see a match play format. I think that would be cool and better. And I feel like there's a way to do it within the context of sponsors and TV windows and, all of those constraints that there are that, have to be considered at the end of the day. But something like a match play, similar to, what Jamie described here, where players can get buys. So there's something to play for during the regular season. There's an actual benefit to, performing and, playing every week and that kind of thing. And, I think that's one of the knocks on a match play format is, Rory or whoever may not want to play 7 matches in a row to, at the end of a long season or, with other kind of constraints and everything. So like tightening that up, the rounds of like 32 or, successive rounds of 32 and 16, I think would be super exciting. I think hidden benefit, you don't have to, people concede putts if they're out of the hole. So you don't have to watch people line up 3-foot putts all day. Like that's not bad. So I'd love to see something like that. And I think it was the No Laying Up guys I heard talking about this, or even like a hybrid scenario where it's like match play until you get to the final 4 and then it's stroke play, like one foursome playing stroke play, or, something like that. Cause there is, the other downfall of match play is if you get to the final pairing, like kind of happened at the USAM, right? If someone's winning, they win 8 and 7, and then there's like an hour of blank TV space, and it's not a competitive match or whatever. Like that's obviously not good for fans or for the tour. So even like a stroke or a match play that goes into a stroke play with 4 players so that you have higher likelihood of a close matchup and with the leaders or something like that. I think any of those options would be like beneficial to explore. It's, it'd make for more interest at the end of the day.
Yeah, they gotta, and I think we said this a couple of weeks ago. They just have to make it feel more important too. So one is like make it feel like playoffs. That model works elsewhere, and then make it more elevated. Like winning this needs to matter. And again, like calling it a major is such an arbitrary thing to do. And I don't think they would ever do that, but like it needs to feel it legacy wise, it needs to feel as important, at least as the PGA Championship, right? There's a lot of history to the PGA Championship and everything else. I think it's most people's least favorite of the 4 majors, but it needs to have some gravitas, and it does not now. I think if you went back, I'm sure the 3 of us could list the last 20 winners of most majors collectively if you gave us a pencil and a piece of paper. Besides the Scotty and Rory wins, I don't know how many tour championships I'll remember 10, 15 years ago, and that's a problem. It needs to feel like a culminating event that has some historical import to it.
Agreed.
All right, let's pivot over to Ryder Cup. So we've been talking about the Ryder Cup way too early forever, and I think Matt Hands got slapped a couple of times bringing it up, but we are now, I think, at the moment to actually talk about the Ryder Cup because number 1, it's coming up. Number 2, we have 6 players that are locked in, as we've said before. I'm sure all of you know who those people are: Scotty, JJ Spahn, Xander Schauffele, Russell Henley, Harris English, and Bryson DeChambeau. Automatic qualifiers. Tomorrow, Keegan is having a press conference in which he's going to name his 6 captain picks. Now, ostensibly, this, probably follows the logic of the points in some way, but he can pick whoever he wants. He could pick Chris if he wanted to. Chris could be like the guy on the couch getting drafted. But what I want to hear from y'all is who would your picks be? So I'll start with mine. You tell me who you disagree with, who you would have instead. So I would go for the last 6, and we can talk about why, but I'm just going to list them to get the conversation started. I would go with Justin Thomas on the team. I think that is defensible. Very weird situation how different that is from 2 years ago, but I'm going with Justin Thomas on this team. I'm going to skip Colin Morikawa for a second. So I have 1. I then have Ben Griffin, number 2. I'm skipping Keegan because I think that's ridiculous, but I understand and I'll hear out the arguments. Cam Young, Patrick Cantlay, Sam Burns. So that's 5. And then I'm going to feel confident going with Colin Morikawa at 6. So my final, you tell me what you would do differently: Justin Thomas, Colin, Ben Griffin, Cameron Young, Patrick Cantlay, Sam Burns. Roughly chalk, but Burns being down at 16 goes a little bit out of the lines there.
Yeah. Chris, let me know, as the Ryder Cup captain for Spey Bay, right? I want to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah, I think Those seem reasonable. I mean, there's a couple of hot take picks or non-picks in there, I guess. But part of the issue here is, kind of said it last week, it's very murky, right? There's not a bright line. Oh, these guys should definitely get in. These guys should not. And things are very bunched, kind of right around that 12 line. And, kind of, I guess, as always, there's some, okay, well, these players, they're higher on the list, but they were playing good earlier in the season. They haven't played well lately, and, that type of thing as well. So, yeah, I would pick differently, but I think, you could explain, you could justify the list that you went through, Greg. I would probably bias more towards, maybe a little more towards recent form and also just course fit stuff. So I probably would go JT. I probably would not pick Morikawa. That is a tougher one, but just he's been really struggling. All the caddy switches, just a lot going on there. I would go Ben Griffin. I would go Mav McNeely. Recent form has been good. I would, if I'm picking, I guess with the current Cowden situation, I would put Keegan on the team. I mean, I don't know. It's heard like every side of that at this point, I feel like he's a fiery guy, good course fit, good kind of Ryder Cup fit in general, right? A lot of emotion, kind of a lot of passion, and feels like he's going to bring something to the team on that front. And then, I would skip over Harmon and Novak and pick Cameron Young and Cantlay, or actually I kind of like the Burns pick. Maybe I'm just like feeling the detriment of having to watch all the Cantlay waggles the past weekend. But I think it'd actually go Young and Burns. Burns has some Ryder Cup experience. Again, the recent form is there. Cantlay played well last week, but previous to that, he was has struggled quite a bit this year, at least relatively to where we typically see him. So, but again, it's like I feel like many of these guys are mix and match. Like you could make a good argument for really any of those guys that I picked or skipped, and even extending further down the list. So it is murky for sure.
Yeah, I think the tough thing about the recency is like the tournament's still a month and a half away ish, right? So it's like, is someone who's played really well recently going to be playing well at that period of time? What are they going to be doing in between? Like we've heard the rumors that they're all going to go out to Napa and play. Bryson's going to show up. They're going to watch some football, hang out, everything else. I still think he should tape a bunch of content with him playing break 50s with every member of the team, but that's just me. Yeah,
that would be hilarious.
I would hope that they, maybe the PGA of America, despite our president not knowing the difference between the PGA Tour and the PGA America, maybe the PGA America is a little bit more lenient about content. By the way, side note, do you see Bryson's new challenge on social where he's hitting a ping pong ball up onto the second level of his house into a cup? Yeah. Very good. Very excited about that. Yeah, I mean, I think it sounds like you're prioritizing more recency. I think obviously, to your point though, I think that stands is that I think the top probably 20 golfers are all happy going with. And also I've talked myself in and out of the Keegan Bradley thing 1,000 times. I don't know what to believe. So like when he announces tomorrow, like it sounds like the recent stuff has been, he's got a bunch of people in his ear saying that he should do it. The players want him to do it, that they feel like it's the right thing to do. What it comes down to is like, it's very hard for me to rock the boat on a local one, but we'll see. I mean, at this point, we're less than a day away from actually knowing rather than just debating. Cooper, do you have any other differences, or what's your six?
I'm going to shout out T-Rock, who on Twitter posted that we need Patrick Reed on the team. I think that's a bold suggestion.
I want to bring Patrick Reed to Spey Bay. I might be Patrick Reed at Spey Bay.
Really mix things up. No, I mean, I'm pretty chalk as well. I think with Keegan on the team, that's gonna be really cool. Chastity just dropped a bomb in chat saying that there are rumors of Phil Mickelson co-captaining. I'm looking for a source on that, Chastity. So if you can share that with us, I'm really curious to see if it's just the I made it up meme, or if you have some details on that. I think that could really elevate things. But you heard it here first. Phil Mickelson, breaking news, assistant captain for the Ryder Cup team. Yeah, I mean, I like the JT pick. Obviously, he was on my tour championship selections.
Yeah, he's
Big
one of your
fan
guys.
there. Yeah, one of my guys for sure. So, yeah, nothing crazy from me, but I'm all in favor of Keegan playing. I'm gonna go back and rewatch the full swing episode about him, being disappointed and not selected, and really just get amped up about him not only being the captain, but jumping in, and we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, it's his villain origin story.
Saw lots of good memes this past week or the last few days on, Keegan calling himself, looking in the mirror, telling him he made the team or didn't make the team.
Get in there and make this about you.
Yeah, or him calling just like the top 50 players and telling a bunch of people no just to get revenge. Call Zach Johnson, tell him he's not making the team just to get revenge.
Love it.
Lots of good content.
Love it. Golf Twitter continues to not disappoint. Any last thoughts on Ryder Cup before we move on to the real Ryder Cup, the one that we're participating in?
No. We'll look forward to watching the announcements tomorrow. See who's on the team.
I will say one thing about the popular Ryder Cup, the content game that they have coming out. I saw Greg, you retweeted the breakfast thing. We've got some of our friends, some other content creators are making chants that are more respectable than the average USA chants. Like, we're really, the content game coming out of Bethpage is already excellent. So I just wanted to say, if you haven't seen any of that, we'll be reposting some of that on our channels. Keep an eye out, but it's been really good so far, and we're still a few weeks out.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're going to get a lot of content, that is to be sure. The Ryder Cup traditionally has done a pretty good job. And I think with some of this stuff that's coming out, I'm going to watch all of it. So, all right, let's talk about the Spey Bay Ryder Cup, which is coming up this week. If you haven't been paying attention, we have 4 big events every year at Spey Bay: the Tour Championship, the Member Guest, the Summer Solstice, which you can watch the video about that Cooper mentioned earlier on YouTube, and then the Ryder Cup. What's pretty special about Spey Bay is that we have a local membership and obviously some European members, and then we have the international membership, which skews a little bit more towards US. We're fielding 2 teams, and we are dropping into Spey Bay on Thursday for the opening ceremony, playing Friday foursomes and 4-ball, Saturday foursomes and 4-ball, Sunday singles, with some rumors about side events, pub games, other ways to earn more points. For historical context, the U.S. team got boat raced last year. Absolutely not just beaten, but beaten into the most embarrassing submission that you could possibly know. So there is a weight and a gravitas that the European team brings to the table that the U.S. is very much scrappy underdogs. Chris is our captain here. We also have an assistant captain who has a good deal of experience taking down juggernauts as an underdog in the 1980 Miracle Olympics. I'm feeling the love. We got people all over the place sending in social video. Bert has a bunch of friends in the industry and in sports who have been wishing us well. It's kind of like that scene in Miracle where they're all going down the hallway out to play, and they're tapping all the letters that are sent in from the American people in support. So we feel like we're getting, so we don't want to let them down. I think we've talked about sort of the preview and everything else, but anything to touch on as far as the lead up, and then I want to kind of go into using this as an opportunity to talk about how to plan for and pack for a Scotland trip, because that's what we're ultimately doing this week.
Yeah, no, for those that missed it, or who's on the screen right here. So vice captain for the U.S. team, none other than Jack O'Callahan from the Miracle on Ice team from the 1980 Olympics, which Greg mentioned. So awesome little wrinkle there. We've got some patriotic flair coming from that angle as well. Definitely watched Miracle over the past couple of weeks to get pumped up. Mm-hmm. But I will say I personally enjoyed the message from AJ Pierzynski. Did a stint on the Braves, Love that. Had him on my fantasy team for a while.
He was on the Cardinals too. Yeah.
Yeah. Great player. And a pretty humorous little draft that he did. If you haven't watched it, go give it a watch. But yeah, I'm excited. I don't know, Coop, before I go on, what's any other thoughts going into the week? Or
Boy,
that's been chatting?
Just red, white, and blue coursing through my veins, man. It's an exciting time. I'm worried about my handicap because it's like near the lowest it's ever been. But I'm posting some of the worst scores I've posted all year.
No man's land, man.
Yeah, so it's really, really scary position to be in going into a net tournament situation. But might get one more round posted before the flight takes off to go across the pond. Might have to get into 5-iron and just look at the numbers and see where I'm at, so I can source some solutions out of my golf swing. We'll see how that plays out, but ultimately, like, regardless of my personal woes around my golf game, just unbelievably stoked, honored, excited to participate in this for a second year. It's probably the best event of anything I've ever been to or attended. And that includes World Series and Super Bowls. The Spey Bay Ryder Cup is like just an elevated signature event.
Just means more.
It just means more. So just amped.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna be super fun. I didn't go last year. I'm so incredibly excited to get over there. My wife's also coming. She hasn't been to Scotland, so she's gonna be able to see Spey Bay for the first time. We're gonna, drive around. It's similar, like PGA Tour players bringing the wives and girlfriends on the road. We're not gonna have a camper. That's a miss. We should have done that. We could have just parked in the parking lot. But yeah, we're gonna be ready. I'm excited to see some of these surprises, right? But like, to paint a picture, like, it's all out, right? There are uniforms. There is an opening ceremony. We've had press conferences already, and obviously some of this is a little bit tongue in cheek, but it absolutely does mean something, right? Because at the end of the day, for the club, like, any club you've ever been a part of, you have the thing up on the wall who the club champion was. These things last for years, and ultimately winning this does mean a good deal to either team. So super excited to get over there. I do want to talk about, obviously there's basically one more sleep until I leave tomorrow. So I'm in kind of the throes of packing right now. So I want to just kind of talk through you all have been over there a couple of times. What are some of the things we got to make sure that we're packing? Any other tips and tricks for people planning future Scotland trips? This one's obviously a little bit different because we're mostly just playing at one place, although we're going to play at the new Cabot Highlands Old Petty after the event. I think one thing obviously is like a ton of camera equipment that I'm bringing along so that we can shoot a bunch of this stuff. We've learned quite a bit on sort of what to take and how to prepare for that. I'm excited to put some good content out on social and also something long form on YouTube next month. But I'll basically have an entire backpack full of camera equipment, the rig, the audio stuff. I'll have my other backpack carry on, which will have the drone, my laptop, and kind of charging equipment stuff that I need. We're going to pack a big ass suitcase because as Cooper's pulling up the weather, you kind of never know what you're going to get. You got to layer. Obviously, rain equipment, super important, top and bottom. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm taking I'm packing double, right? I'm taking like enough shorts for every day, enough pants for every day, some hoodies. We got a special visor that we're going to debut for sure that I'm very excited to show to the world. And, we got some new shoes we've been breaking in because we're going to be walking a bunch. So are there any other tips and tricks y'all have found that you've gotten over there and you're like, man, I really wish I brought this, or anything else that you're preparing for your journey over to Spey Bay?
Yeah. The weather can be Scottish. We're looking at, some of the first scattered showers that might show up in the rain in the forecast. The interesting thing about Spey Bay, and people who live there will be the first to tell you, it's like its own microclimate. Like, you can get forecasted rain everywhere and it'll just blow around the course and you'll get, maybe a sprinkle or something like that. But it's, fingers crossed that continues to be the case for this event. But you're going to need to have some of that stuff in the bag because you can tee off and go play 8 holes and then you're at the opposite end of the course. If you don't have your rain gear when something blows in, you're going to need that. So having a good set of rain gear, essential for Scottish golf. Clubs that you can hit low under the wind, right, confidently. I think that's a key shot out there. The flop shot will get you laughed off the course by your Europe opponents. You need to master the bump and run and the greenside putt. Not really gear, but skills you should be bringing with you, or at least clubs on that front. We've got mics. We've got the little fuzzy microphones. We're going to be out there recording a ton of content. So excited about that. Drones, all of the above, and then as much red, white, and blue gear as I can fit in my travel bag.
For sure. Yeah, my biggest takeaway for packing for Scotland has basically been layers. Like, gotta have the layers, because you can get cold and warm, still conditions, windy conditions, rainy conditions, and all in the span of a few hours. So yeah, rain gear, some layers, be prepared. We'll get some team uniforms. So, we'll have some additional stuff coming for us, but that's the biggest thing to be prepared for. And yeah, I know we like on the solstice, we did half sets and, like a little different bag configuration and that kind of stuff. Think about bringing different equipment, but for a competition, I think we gotta have all the tools in the toolkit. You gotta have everything there, so that, we can maximize our performance. So everything's going to be stock, full bag coming across this time. Oh, and multiple pairs of shoes. That's a must.
100%.
That's a must.
Yeah, they can get wet. Definitely some, maybe not waterproof, but some water resistant shoes, and then some other ones. I think I did, to your point about clubs, I did yesterday at the sim test out bringing the 4-iron back in the bag, which I don't play because I game a 7-wood. Wasn't really worth it because I was actually hitting the 4-iron. Like it didn't make sense to have the 4-iron and the 2 driving iron, because the 4-iron just like kind of rolls out a lot. It's not going to hit a ton of greens. It didn't seem that important to have. And then I also tested a 3 hybrid that I've had that I haven't put in the bag for a while, and kind of same situation. It just like went higher, but it rolled out around what the 2-iron is. And I've been hitting the 2-iron pretty well, which I still think is going to be a weapon. So I've been making no changes at all. I know, Coop, you've talked about like your wedges. Chris, you've talked about the driver. Are you going to game the new one, play the old one? All that stuff factors in, obviously, as well. But I think I'm sticking stock pretty much, making no changes to the bag. The tour van wasn't able to convince me what to change.
Yeah, and the conditions have certainly been very dry this year, so it is going to be firm and fast. And as you mentioned, Cooper, low running shots will be an advantage and at a premium for sure. Practice up those stingers, Team USA. Yeah.
Before we wrap up, MPJ had a question here. Let's take some comment review. Rank these moments in the 2025 season: Rory's Augusta putt, JJ's US Open putt, Fleetwood's winning tour championship. I would say I would flip JJ and Rory for me, just because of everything that was surrounding Rory's win, just like the lead up to it and everything. So I would go Rory, JJ, Fleetwood. Do y'all, what are y'all's orders? Looks like, Coop, you said Rory, JJ, Fleetwood as well.
Yeah, Rory winning the Masters, I think, is the top storyline of this season for me, the Grand Slam. But JJ's putt, I'm gonna go rewatch that now that it's mentioned every time. It's just such a cool moment. And then Fleetwood, obviously, up there on the podium for this year. Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, I have the same order. Condolences, MPJ. But yeah, I guess like if you were taking just the shots with no context, then yeah, JJ's putt was awesome. And, bombing a long putt to win a major is incredible. But with all the context of Rory, career Grand Slam, all that stuff, it's hard not to put that at the top of the list. Maybe just to throw another curveball, though, where would you slot in Scotty, meaning 2 majors plus 5 wins or whatever, and one leg short of career Grand Slam? I feel like that's the other big storyline from the season.
I mean, I'm probably still doing Rory, JJ, Scotty, Fleetwood. Probably just like, I mean, it's kind of a weird comparison because it's a moment. How did I feel in that moment versus like a storyline? I mean, I think the true championship golfer of the world is Scottie Scheffler, and what he did this year was absolutely incredible to watch, talk about, and hopefully continue. But yeah, I mean, to your point, I think the only reason that JJ Spawn putt was sick, and that I've been a huge JJ Spawn fan since he showed up to Kapalua with an untucked shirt. I knew very little about him, but I just decided he was my boy, and it was great to see. The Rory one had the context of obviously winning the Masters and him almost missing that putt and melting down. But yeah, Scottie, I mean, storyline wise, I think the biggest storyline of the year is Scottie overall, I would say. God, that putt was so good. Cool. All right, well, let's wrap it up here. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We used a new streaming platform today, and hopefully that came across in like video and audio quality. Hopefully that came across a little bit better production value. We're going to continue to learn how to use it, but we made a big jump on the production team this week, and so hopefully that's shown through. If not, let us know. But thanks for taking the time to tune in across platforms. Also now, not just on YouTube, still subscribe on YouTube. It's the best place to see this stuff. You'll also get notified when we go live. You'll get notified when we drop videos like the Summer Solstice 100-hole hike. If you haven't watched that, definitely check that out. Let us know what you thought about it. You'll also get notified when we release the upcoming Ryder Cup stuff over the course of the next month or so. Remember to check out Hillcrest memberships. Check out Instagram and YouTube for Hillcrest and Spey Bay updates. We publish a ton of in-progress course stuff. If you are interested in learning about golf courses or just watching a golf course develop, there is tons over there for you to see at Spey Bay and Hillcrest. Obviously very different projects, but you should go and look at those, and they're really fun. Hit us up in Discord with guest ideas, hot takes, feedback. If you want to join the club, you can visit links.golf. We have tons of information about what the benefits are, what courses you get to play, and everything else about what membership means. And then obviously follow the pod wherever you find them, leave a review, and we will see y'all next time. Appreciate it, everybody.
See y'all in Scotland, guys.
Yeah, see y'all in a couple days. One more sleep.
One more.
See y'all.
See y'all.